What's up, everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode of the
GEEK
Buddies. Hey! We're back here on a Friday to have some fun talking about stuff that's gone on over the last few days. If you missed our episode, we had one earlier this week breaking down the first episode of Night of the Seven Kingdoms and talking about Maxima and all that stuff that's going on there on the DC side of things. We got more DC stuff to talk about here on the show. We're going to get into that Lobo teaser, Christina Hodson being tapped to write the Batman movie that's coming out from James Gunn supposedly at some point. We're going to get in some big trailers like that Masters of the Universe and the Maul trailer. And we're also going to dive into our thoughts on the Oscars here. But let's introduce ourselves first. I am John Rocha, writer, producer, and host here on the Geek Buddies.
I am Michael Vogel, writer and producer of animated TV shows, movies, and video games.
Yeah. And of course, Shannon can't join us today. He is working. He's on set on a big film. We can't talk about it yet, but he's on set in a big film, so we're sending him much love, but we miss him here on the show. Michael, we got so much to get into. Let's do it. The first thing we should talk about, of course, is the Oscar nominations. I know some of you have seen some of my coverage the last couple of days. We got to hear from Michael Vogel on this, on the Geek Buddies. A lot went down with these Oscars nominations. Sinners breaking the records with 16 nominations. Even if they hadn't gotten Best Casting, which is the new category that came this year, they still would have broken the record by having 15, but they got 16 overall here. Then there was One Battle After Another. They got a lot of nominations. Hamnet got a lot of nominations. And, of course, K-Pop Demon Hunters seems like it's going to be running away with this, but Zootopia 2 has now been included. So interesting stuff all around. But, Michael, a dearth of comic book movies, and we are the Geek Buddies. Hardly any of the comic book, I think all the comic book movies got shut out completely, including Superman, Thunderbolts, Captain America. So your thoughts on these Oscars overall and the fact that some of these comic book movies didn't even make like the below the line category nominations here. What's your thoughts?
Did we think any of those were going to get nominated?
I mean, I thought Superman might have a shot for special effects or something, but
I mean, when you look at this, what were the special effects nominees? I mean, like Avatar Fire and Ash is the special effects movie. So, I mean, It kind of like, but I'm curious. I can't remember what else got nominated in that category. If I'm going to assume
I'm
that
looking
Avatar's
up right
yeah.
Keep talking. Yeah. Keep going.
You know, I actually think this was a great year for nominations.
Okay.
Like, I think this was I think we talked about it in the past, and especially coming out of the pandemic and movies being what they were, there's always that. Here's a bunch of movies that got nominated that if you are really into movies, you're going to go see these things, but you know, they're not necessarily the movies that everybody wants to go see, but then you don't want the Academy Awards to just become popular movies and not reward different things. And this year we've got movies that were really popular. We've got movies that are the typical awards fodder kind of movies. We also have a lot more international movies getting nominated for more than just international film, for best foreign film. So I love seeing that. And I'm thrilled for Ryan Coogler and Sinners. Like, you know, you're saying the big geek movies weren't included, but for a Black vampire musical to now have the record for the most nominees of all time, I've seen a lot of people who were not fans of Sinners kind of dogging that on Twitter and talking about it. But it's like, look, even if Sinners is not your cup of tea, which is perfectly fine, seeing those movies that did really well at the box office, so definitely connected with audiences, also being recognized by the Academy for just the caliber of work that we put in though. Like, don't root for Sinners if you didn't like it, but I do think it absolutely deserves to be in that category. The biggest, you know, you're talking about snubs with the comic book movies that were divisive even amongst comic book fans. But I think the biggest shocker when we're talking Oscar snubs this year, and the tweets about it have been very funny, is that Wicked for Good did not get a single award. Now, you know, we did our review of Wicked for Good. I was a big fan of Wicked. I enjoy Wicked for Good because I am a homosexual musical loving nerd. But Wicked for Good, even when we talked about it in our spoiler review, you know, it didn't hit the heights of Wicked 1. It is not the movie that Wicked 1 was. But damn, it is, had it not. So I didn't think it was going to get nominated for Best Picture, Best Director. Ariana Grande, I thought maybe still had a shot at Best Supporting, but we're going to see. But I'm not surprised that she wasn't. But what is surprising is that Wicked for Good did not get a costume nomination.
Yep.
It didn't get a visual effects nomination. Nope. Those 2 original songs written by Steven Schwartz, I don't like those songs, but traditionally, when a musical is made into a movie and they add a song to the movie because they want to get nominated, that song often gets nominated just as a, okay, we'll give you the nomination. Did not even, neither of those songs even made it into the best song category, which we know K-pop Demon Hunters is going to win, but still, like, it was, that is an active snub.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was wild. It was wild.
You look at the costume design, I mean, even something like Avatar, Fire and Ash, which you could argue, even Entertainment Weekly was like, wait a minute, what? When I did my live show yesterday, reacting to the nominations about an hour after they've been dropped, I said the same thing. I'm like, how is Avatar, Fire and Ash in the costume category when that's like special effects design? But it got in there, and Wicked takes an
somebody got to design those costumes.
I know, you're right. I'm just saying it's the first time I've kind of seen it, I think, with special effects or being nominated for best costume. But you also had Frankenstein, Hamnet, Marty Supreme, and Sinners. I think all of those you could absolutely argue belong there, but you could have moved Avatar out for Wicked for Good. When you look at makeup and hairstyling, it's Frankenstein, Kokuho, which is one of those international films you're talking about, Michael, Sinners, The Smashing Machine, Ugly Stepsister. There's no way that Wicked for Good shouldn't have got in over Smashing Machine. I mean, I appreciate The Rock's nose and all, but for God's sakes,
it definitely. And look, I'm not arguing that Wicked should be in those categories or not.
I would argue.
But when you look at the fact that it's not in any of them, that's actively being like, we are not rewarding this movie. And it is very funny because as all things on social media, you have your people that are real pissed off about it, posting about how Wicked for Good deserved to be nominated in a lot of categories, and then you have the people being like, my favorite was the one. It was like, look, I liked Wicked for Good. I don't think it should be nominated for an Oscar. I like Taco Bell. I don't think it deserves a Michelin star.
Oh my God. Yeah, when you look at production design, you've got Frankenstein, Hamnet, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, and Sinners. I don't know what I'd move out. Maybe Marty Supreme I would move out for Wicked, but not really. I mean, it's a tough sell.
And then going back, what was visual effects? Yeah, what was visual effects?
Avatar, Fire and Ash, F1, Jurassic World Rebirth, The Lost Bus, and Sinners. So I would have moved Jurassic World Rebirth out. No, I guess I wouldn't, because the dinosaurs are pretty amazing. Maybe F1 or Lost Bus. Even the Lost Bus, the fire stuff is amazing. I could see the argument you could move that out for Superman, or even F1 for Superman. But people loved F1, man. So but
it's just one of those things. Like, look. I have, as much as I am in my abusive relationship with Jurassic Park, I'm not going to argue that the dinosaurs look. It's the one thing that keeps us going to Jurassic Park movies is the dinosaurs look amazing. F1, I think that we sometimes do get into. Look, I love Superman. I thought Superman was a great movie. Thunderbolts, I really enjoy.
Yeah,
Captain America is a movie that exists. But as much as all of those movies rely really heavily on special effects, is Hulk fighting Sam in a very CG pink cherry blossom Washington DC better than the fire in Lost Bus?
No,
or better than, you know what I mean? Like,
to me, Superman is the argument. The kaiju, the different species of characters, the construction of the realms they're going into, the dimensions they're going into, the prisons they built. I think there's a lot of even the ship they're using at the end there with Lois is driving. Like, I think there's a lot. Even the Gathiki, Mr. Terrific's battle sequence. There's some great special effects or visual effects there. So in my mind, I think that's the stronger case, not the other two, but certainly Superman.
I think that's fair.
Yeah,
you could make a case for Superman. I guess my pushback would be, and again, you could argue this with, some of the other things that are nominated, but did the special effects in the movie stand out to a level that other movies don't. And I think I'm not one of those people on social media saying the visual effects in Superman are crap. I think the visual effects are great. I think Krypto's adorable. He is a giant visual effect. But are the visual effects in James Gunn's Superman outstanding? Did you come out and go, fuck? With Jurassic Park, like I said, is the wonder. We believe in dinosaurs are real. The Lost Bus, they made me believe in that fire.
That fire,
I believed in it.
Yeah.
F1, same thing. Like I was on the edge of my seat for that movie. Like I was so into it. Sinners, you could argue, but I would say that the special effects in Sinners, particularly Michael B. Jordan acting opposite himself, is so immersive that the movie couldn't exist without it. And then Avatar Fire and Ash, like James Cameron, every movie is like, let me show you something you've never seen before. So it's interesting. But like I said, even going through that list, I love that that's such a variety of films, even in that category. So, and you know, some specifics, like because Sinners kind of was on this roll, I was thrilled to see Delroy Lindo get a Best Supporting Actor. I'm thrilled that Michael B. Jordan is in the Best Actor category. And then another one that was a maybe because she wasn't nominated in a lot of the other awards aside the Golden Globes is I'm thrilled that Amy Madigan is in that Best Supporting Actor category, Best Supporting Actress category. And again, to see a movie like Weapons, you know, straight up horror movie, crowd pleaser, lots of people saw it, to see her in that category, it's really fun. So I am the movies that I've seen this year, I'm excited about what's in the category. And as always happens, as soon as the nominations come out, I go down the list of the things that I haven't seen yet, and I start figuring out which night of the week I'm going to watch these movies. So I'm thrilled to check them all out. One that I'm excited about because I haven't seen it and I've heard amazing things is Arco. That's in the best, which I have not seen. I wanted to see it, but now that it's in that category, with that one, it's a tough one because I do think K-pop Demon Hunters deserves to win for a lot of reasons, but Zootopia 2 is now the most successful animated movie of all time.
Yeah, so I want to ask you, like, does that throw everything off kilter? Because I think when you look at Sinners and One Battle After Another, everybody thought One Battle After Another, including me, was a shoo-in. But with Sinners getting 16 nominations, that Best Picture, that Best Director now becomes a little bit more in question. Do you look at the same thing with Best Animated Feature here? Does Zootopia 2 becoming the biggest grossing animated film of all time? Does that give it a little? Does that knock K-pop Demon Hunters a little bit off its throne, make it a little wobbly that it seems like a shoe-in to win this thing?
It might. I mean, I don't. You know, it depends how people vote. If you vote and you go, look, this Zootopia 2 just demolished the box office. Like, and is a very well-made sequel. I don't think it's better than Zootopia 1. It's not like a Toy Story 3 situation, but like it's a solid movie. It is a solid entry in the Zootopia world that makes me excited for the very obviously going to happen Zootopia 3.
Yes.
So I'm perfectly happy for Zootopia movies to continue to happen if this is the level of quality we get. K-pop Demon Hunters is so different, so unique, such a surprise. So I would vote K-pop Demon Hunters. And then to your point with One Battle After Another, is my favorite movie of the year.
Yeah, ditto.
But I think if I'm out of the two of them, I think probably One Battle After Another, to me, deserves to win a little bit more than Sinners. But there's a part of me that's so happy that a movie like Sinners got nominated. Yeah. And I am such a fan of Ryan Coogler and everything that he's going to do as he moves forward. Like the thing that I'm least excited with Ryan Coogler is Black Panther 3. And I'm excited about that. But like, I want Coogler to keep doing stuff like this. So if Sinners swept, I wouldn't be upset.
That's what I said to Jeff last night on the hot mic. I'm like, Ryan Coogler should read this message from the Academy to keep going down the original content path. Yes, Black Panther 3 is great. Yes, maybe he'll slide into another genre, like another franchise maybe, but your original content clearly resonates with the audiences and the voters. And so to me, that is a clear sign that you are a filmmaker that is blessed by the Academy and a number of academies, by the way, organizations and what have you. So keep going down this path, keep exploring this. And I hope it's a message to other filmmakers of color or Black filmmakers that, hey, this kind of stuff, if you do it well, people will come to it. If you can find that secret sauce, people will come to it. A film like this that explores racism, explores the cultural ideas, the fact that the concept that white people are a vampire sucking the blood out of black culture. The fact that it's been that way, it's a presentation there in the film is amazing, and it's done so well and messes with genres too. Yeah.
Well, and I would actually say the message isn't just to do more original stuff, but what the real message is, and I think this is what makes Ryan Coogler kind of really interesting right now, is we live in a time where the common thinking is, given the state of a lot of things, don't do stories that are about minorities, that are really hitting the message. Don't dive into racism. Don't dive into blackness. Like you go, it's pervasive that stuff happens. Oh, it's another movie. It's a woke this, it's a woke that. And there's just a fear of that. And whether he's doing original stuff or diving into a big IP, like I think I'm probably going to miss something, but what if Coogler's like Fruitvale Station, Creed, Fruitvale Station, Creed, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Did he direct Creed 2?
No, that was that was
he was a producer on it. And then Sinners.
And then Sinners.
Whether he's doing a Marvel movie, a vampire movie, a Rocky movie, original movie, it doesn't matter. Every single one of those movies is about blackness.
Yeah, exactly.
And they all have done really, really well. So in an era where that is kind of not the common thinking, the fact that he and then everybody who worked on that movie are being rewarded for a movie that was so much about that is kind of probably why I get jazzed about it. That is also really, really good.
I agree. 100%. I agree. Anything else you want to say on the Oscars, or shall we move on? Anything else you want to highlight?
I just get excited about the Oscars.
How about score horror? Where are you at on this? Begonia, Frankenstein, Hamnet, One Battle After Another, and Sinners. I feel like Sinners the odds-on favorite. It's been winning across the board, but anything there?
I think Sinners is a great score. I've said this before, but I think Ludwig Göransson is going to be one of the next big greats. I think he is. I think Ludwig Göransson is going to be in the next 10, 15 years in that John Williams, Hans Zimmer, Danny Elfman. I mean, to a lot of people, he already is. Right, but I mean, I think he's just going to continue to just kill it.
Yeah.
I low-key am a little bit obsessed with the score for Begonia.
Yeah.
Begonia has some wild musical choices that are so over. I mean, the whole movie is over the top, but Begonia has some over-the-top musical choices that make me kind of also put that, like, to me, if it was me voting, I'd probably vote for Begonia or Sinners.
Wow. Okay. All right. Do you feel like the Marty Supreme soundtrack should have gotten a little more love? Some people have said that, or maybe even the Wicked for Good soundtrack score or anything?
Well,
no.
Wicked for Good was clearly not getting nominated. Marty Supreme, the Marty Supreme score is very good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure how I feel about Marty Supreme, to be honest with you. I went into that movie expecting to come out and go, that's one of like my top 3 movies of the year, and I'm still trying to go through my feelings about that movie when I came out of it and decide if I like it or if I don't like it. So that's how I feel about Marty Supreme.
Well, for me, that's in my top 3, and I love the score. I thought it should have been nominated. I also think the Train Dream score should have been nominated when I look at this stuff. But again, this is because I believe you should expand the categories, but that's a whole nother conversation for another day. But all right, that's great thoughts there, Michael. Let's move on to some DC stuff. Let's get into it. Christina Hodson, this was broken by, as I mentioned, my brother on the hot mic there. Christina Hodson was apparently tapped to write the script for The Brave and the Bold. This was confirmed by The Hollywood Reporter a few hours later after Jeff Snyder published the article here. And of course, this is the same Christina Hodson who wrote Birds of Prey, who wrote The Flash, who wrote the unreleased Batgirl. She also wrote Bumblebee, and she's been, writing stuff behind the scenes for quite some time, building up her resume here. But Michael, people had a massive reaction to this, a massive backlash to this. So your thoughts on the idea that Christina Hodson is writing the Batman script for now? We don't know if it's going to change or not, but certainly that's the situation. And why did James Gunn hide this from us? Is this because of the backlash we're seeing now? What are your thoughts on this?
What do I think about this? I would say
yes.
My initial reaction was probably the same as a lot of people's reaction on social media. Like when you go, okay, like I don't think Birds of Prey is a horrible movie,
Right, right.
And I think that there's a lot of good stuff. There's a Birds of Prey movie that had a lot of potential that I don't think it really hit. But there's some stuff that I like in it. I don't think it's horrible. The Flash is pretty bad. And the Batgirl movie we'll never know because apparently we'll never know apparently, but apparently it was so bad that we're never going to see it.
Right.
I don't know Christina Hodson. But there is this part of me that's like, okay, in television, writers rule. Like if a writer is writing a television show and that show is bad, it's on the writer. It's not on the episodic director.
Right.
The writer is the one that is driving that creative. Yeah. In film, it is the opposite. So there are a lot of people that write scripts and their names are on that script, and then it's handed to the director. And what you end up with at the end of the day, once the director has sat in that director's chair and made those decisions and been in the editing booth and made all the choices, what you end up with on screen is not always what the writer wanted. So blaming a writer for a bad movie is hard to pinpoint. Yeah. It doesn't mean it's not true. Which is why when the news came out and I saw it and I'm like, that's the vibe. Yeah. That's the tone. Because what you can say about her body of work, taking out whether the movies are good or not, is Bumblebee, which I actually genuinely like, Birds of Prey, and The Flash all have a light and fluffy.
Playful? Yes, sure.
Playful, light and fluffy tone.
Sure.
So that I would say is so Batman Brave and the Bold is going to be that. And if that's not if that's not your cup of tea for a Batman movie, I think you do have cause to be concerned. Is it going to be bad because a couple of those other DC ones are really bad? That is more, we'll have to see who's in, is if it's Muschietti. If you go, the writing directing team of The Flash is doing Brave and the Bold.
Yeah.
Well, then I'm going to be like, guys, what are we doing?
Yeah. I mean, this is something, Yeah,
but I'm trying to give a young writer, a writer who's been working a long time, but like, I'm trying to give a writer who I don't really have a sense, like the benefit of the doubt here, but the stack of evidence of what the tone is going to be and how it's going to end up is probably not in her favor right now.
It's an interesting path, because when you look at Christina Hodson's resume, I mean, like she got on the map because she got on the blacklist back in 2012. One of her scripts was so good, Shut In, that it got on that blacklist. And we know, Michael, having been in Hollywood, like the blacklist is like, you want to get on there. It's those scripts that everyone seems to really like, and it's qualified for this phantom blacklist, right? That everyone wants to read and whatever. So clearly there's enough background behind her that people do like the stuff she writes, and she keeps getting employed for these big franchise type movies. So there must be something here that people are gravitating to. Now, it does not mean that the end result of the film is every single word she wrote, right? She's not directing these movies. She's writing these movies, but we don't know how many script doctors come in and change things, how much the director changes things, the actor changes things, the executives come down and say, no, that shouldn't happen in the movie. You should do this, you do that. And they change things around. So it's tough to gauge where what's hers and what isn't. And so I agree with you. With a writer, you just have to kind of see what's going on. This isn't David Mamet. This isn't Aaron Sorkin. That isn't Christina Hodson. She understands the system that she's in, but she keeps getting employed. And so to me, there's a reason for that. I have to believe there's a reason for that. I liked Bumblebee. I actually liked the first hour of The Flash, and then it starts to kind of get into weird places and not as strong. But again, that could be Muschietti. And then the other stuff that I've seen from her, I've kind of liked Birds of Prey potential and what have you. So the question, and we haven't seen the Batgirl script. I think they should release the Batgirl script. Honestly, I want to see what that's all about at some point down the road. It's the Muschietti combo that to me, and I've said this before, that I think he's off the film. I've heard that from a couple of sources. They kept saying in these reports that he's still attached. That's the thing. If you got Hodson and Muschietti who did The Flash, that is a bad combo for people who are excited to see a Batman Brave and the Bold. I like that she's lighthearted. That's the approach that I've seen with the animated Brave and the Bold. There's some darker stuff in that, of course, but it's a much more lighter approach to the Batman situation. And so that means it's a change from what Reeves is doing. But we're still like 3 or 4 years down the road from seeing this movie, Michael, because James Gunn's recent comments saying how like we're not going to do the Batman at the same time. So we're not going to see that till 2028, 2029. So is this a work in progress? Just because she's the writer that Jeff revealed is the writer doesn't mean that her script is going to be the main focus of where they're going, right? So it's an interesting reaction, though, that people have to this situation. And I don't know how she takes it. And I feel like James hid this because he didn't want her to get the backlash for it. And in the end, it happened anyway, you know?
Yeah, I mean, listen, we can talk about this when we talk about the Masters of the Universe trailer too. Like, there are good things, there's good things and there's bad things out there, and there's things that hit and we're all happy with them, and there's things that we're disappointed by. But man, it's just getting more and more like an image is revealed, a trailer is revealed, an announcement is made, and everyone is just geared up and ready to just tear the world down, like burn it all. And it just gets, it gets exhausting to us because we talk about it every week. But like, can you imagine actually working in the industry and these things happening? Like, and that's not to say you have this character that you love and a creative team that you're like, this is not the vibe that I want to is doing it, that you shouldn't be disappointed. I'm not saying everybody should just shut up about it, but boy, man, this movie's going to be picked apart, to your point, before we even see a teaser.
I think now more than ever, you have to have incredibly thick skin to be in this business, because social media is
or just not get on social media.
Which is very rare because most people coming up through the business are on social media. So they can be aware of what people are into, what trends they're following, those kinds of things. So, but it's a tough situation. And so many people want to make their channels based on bashing things. And, that's their sole focus. And so it becomes a cycle, so to speak. And she's got 2 more movies coming. She's got that Ron Howard firefighter film that she's written, and Fast 11, the Fast X movie. So again, franchise.
Well, again, movies, and those movies might come out, and those movies might come out and be great.
Yeah, maybe.
And then we can be like, okay, maybe this movie's going to be good. Like that. It's so hard to gauge what a writer is going to bring to that on the film side. So, I would say that in general, with a lot of DC stuff right now, as much as I liked Superman, I'm still kind of like watching it all with an arched eyebrow. Like, there's like, okay, I still am not 100% sure what this universe is yet, and whether or not it's going to flourish. And I'm not waiting for it to fail. I want it to succeed.
Sure.
But I'm still not 100% on solid ground with it.
I think that's totally fair. Well, we're not done with DC just yet. Let's see if Michael raises an arched eyebrow at this. We had ourselves a Lobo teaser that dropped about 26 seconds, that dropped as we're recording this morning, showing us Jason Momoa for a few seconds riding that legendary motorcycle out of the fire there, giving that same laugh that he gave Offset getting into a car when asked about being Lobo. But not much else was shown, just to get people excited on this. And then we had the new logo there for Supergirl. So anything to take away from this, Michael, other than Momoa's joy and maybe a couple of the shots seeing him as the character? Are you more confident now after this, seeing him as Lobo, or maybe questioning it a little bit? Your thoughts?
I mean, he's definitely better suited for this than he was to play Aquaman. So they got that going for him. I just thought this was a really interesting choice to make.
Yes.
And I don't know if it was a reaction to the fact that, look, there is a big part of the internet that is very excited that Jason Momoa is playing Lobo.
Yeah.
And when the Supergirl trailer came out, we got the barest glimpse of him, and people were feeling a certain way about it.
Yeah.
And now, lo and behold, we have this little sort of clip that's sent out that kind of really features him, so we all get a really good look at him. Look, he looks like Lobo. He acts like Lobo. Like, the man was born to play Lobo. I've heard from some of the test screen. I've heard 2 different things, because I've heard from a lot of the early test screenings that Lobo's not really in a lot of the movie.
Yes, I've heard that too.
And so if they're dropping this thing and they're going to build a lot of their marketing around the movie around Lobo, and then we go in the movie and he's in it for 3 minutes and then he's gone, I think that's going to actually be a big backlash for them.
Yep.
Now, if they took the test screening and said, shit, we need to put Lobo in more of the movie, and it works. You know, James Gunn came out, I think, actually around this clip coming out and saying that the Tom King story that the movie's based on is in a lot of ways a bunch of short stories. And he's not wrong about that. It is this journey that Supergirl goes on with this alien girl. And in one issue, they're on a planet where the blue aliens hate the purple aliens. And on another issue, they're on a planet with kryptonite that is killing Supergirl. And another, like, it's definitely kind of episodic in that way. Yeah. And James Gunn said they needed a way to sort of turn it into more of a 3-act structure movie that all flowed together. And Lobo was one of the ways to do that. And when you say something like that, it feels like Lobo is going to be much more important in the movie. So I don't know if there's some reshoots happening or what. But I do think if you are going to put something out like this that really features him as Lobo to get people excited, he better fucking be in more than a little bit of that movie.
Yeah, I think this served two purposes. One, the backlash with Christina Hodson and the Batman thing, it's trying to distract from that a little bit by getting people excited about Lobo and Supergirl.
Ah, they're pulling a Trump with the Epstein stuff. I see what you're saying.
Well, I mean,
I see the strategy here.
We've seen Marvel do this as well.
It's the arc of freedom.
You've seen it. And I also think they're trying to get people excited for Supergirl because there was a backlash to the trailer. People were like, it's Guardians of the Galaxy. So they're like, okay, let's try to sell it off Lobo a little bit. But if you go down that route, I think what you said is 100% accurate. If you pitch to people and lean into the Lobo thing and you go to see this movie and he's in 3 minutes of the fucking movie, people are going to be pissed. And you may get bit in the ass even harder than if you hadn't done this, right? And let the movie stand on its own. So that's the danger of it. Yeah, of course, it looks great. I don't know if I'm 100% sold. It's just Momoa and makeup. It doesn't feel like he's being a different person. So we'll see how I feel about it overall.
Listen,
but
it's not Meryl Streep here. Like this is not a man. It's not Colin Farrell in The Penguin. Like this is not a man who inhabits the character he played. If you put Jason Momoa in a movie, it's Jason Momoa in a fish suit. It's Jason Momoa with horns on his head. It's Jason Momoa with alien makeup, but it's always Jason Momoa.
It's Dothraki Momoa. Yeah, I guess you're right. You're right. but I didn't see much of a difference, so I guess I'm going to have to kind of so seeing him out of costume and then right in costume, there was no difference to me, and I was like, okay, we'll see what happens. But yes, I'm excited. I actually like the trailer for Supergirl, so I'm excited to see this. And I like this for what it was, but I agree with you. It's a curious decision. Will this blow up in their faces, or will this be a smart marketing decision to go down this route? So because I imagine we'll see some Supergirl footage of her as Supergirl probably sometime next week or the next couple of weeks.
Yeah. And
certainly I think there'll be a trailer at the Super Bowl. So we'll see how that goes down. All right, let's move on to some trailers. Michael, let's talk about this. He-Man.
Trailers.
Hey. Let's start with He-Man Masters of the Universe here. Quite a lot was shown in this particular trailer. Michael, we got ourselves some Grayskull. We got Adam's mom. We got to see some Skeletor and even a pretty cool shot of Skeletor here. We got to see quick shots of Evil Lynn there. Allison Brie's Evil Lynn. We got to see Man-at-Arms there, Idris Elba. Interesting stuff here. We got to see some really cool images too here. Him with the power of Grayskull. And we got to see my man scantily clad, for all those who wanted to see my man in some scantily clad clothes there as He-Man. Never mind that Tila apparently can't show any skin, but He-Man can show all the skin he wants. Michael, your thoughts on this trailer? Did it work? Did it not work? Are you with what seems to be 90% of the internet? Are you with the 10% that seems to not be 100% happy with this trailer?
I'm split down the middle on this one. This is a hard one for me because there's two parts of me working on it when this trailer came out. One is I am at the exact right age that my first action figures were He-Man and Skeletor.
Right.
Like I watched that He-Man show. I had Castle Grayskull. I had Snake Mountain. I had every freaking vehicle. I had every toy. I can still smell the way that Mossman smelled. That I had all of it. I was obsessed. So, there's a lot of people on the internet that are like, if you are under this age, you don't give a shit about He-Man. And I think they might be right, but I'm not that. So as much as I have opinions about this trailer and whether this movie is going to actually be good or not, I can't deny that opening shot of the sorceress in bird form, completely accurate to the animation, flying over Eternia and seeing Castle Grayskull and seeing Queen Marlena take a young Adam and run away and seeing freaking Spikor and Beastman and Trapjaw and Evil, like and Fisto in there. Best name ever for a character. But seeing all of them in a big budget trailer, my inner 8-year-old was like, shit, all I've had my entire life is that shitty Dolph Lundgren movie. And now I'm going to get to see this all on the big screen. So there's a part of me that's excited despite the quality of this film. Like, I'm just excited because I am at that age, and that is fine for me. But as someone who's worked for a major toy company, who's worked on major IP, and spends lots of my time working on projects where you are like, how are we making this IP work for our target audience? This is a big question mark for me. I don't know that this movie matters to kids. I don't know if they're going to want to go see this. I don't know if a sword and sorcery meets future tech world, which Eternia is going to get kids excited. And ultimately, for this to be a successful franchise, that's who they need. They've got me. They've got the 40-year-olds. They got the 40-year-olds who all grew up on He-Man. We're going to see this. We're all going to be happy. He's going to say, I have the power. The lightning is going to strike. And we're all going to get goosebumps because that's how nostalgia works. But if kids go see it, that's what matters. The other thing is, like, there's an obvious comparison. A, Mattel's biggest girls brand is Barbie. Their biggest boys brand is He-Man. B, both of these movies take place partially in a fantasy world, partially in the real world. So there's an obvious Barbie comparison here. And we were talking about this on our text chain. And I think the challenge this has, Barbie, I went back after I watched the Masters of the Universe trailer and I watched the Barbie trailer. Because when that first Barbie trailer came out, I remember all of us being like, oh shit. How am I now? How is this now one of the things I'm most excited for? And I didn't have that with the Masters of the Universe trailer. And when you watch the Barbie trailer, we are doing 100% Barbie with the way the angle of the feet, everything is perfect. My life is perfect. And then Barbie's like, do you guys think about death? And you're like, oh, even the tagline or the end of the trailer says, if you love Barbie, this movie is for you. If you hate Barbie, this movie is for you. And they did a really good job of going, this is a movie that breaks down the good and the bad of Barbie. Even in the trailer, you got that. With He-Man, I get, it's the cartoon. And it looks like that Battle Cat is there, Man at Arms is there, Teal is there, like, okay, everyone's there but Orko.
What the hell?
That, and I get, well, I don't know how you do Orko in live action. It's a whole other conversation. But so I get that it is that, but I don't know what it's saying about He-Man. I don't know what the hook of this movie is. I get that Queen Marlena sends a young Adam and the Sword of Power to Earth to get it away from Skeletor, and then Adam grows up on Earth and then comes back and becomes He-Man. But beyond that, I don't know if this movie is self-referential, if they're playing it very straight. Like, I don't know what they're doing. So I'm dubious about the story's quality, even though my inner 8-year-old wants to go see my favorite toys on the big screen.
I wasn't the biggest fan of this trailer. And it's a $200 million movie, by the way. That's the reported budget for this. And I did not see that on the screen with some of the special effects. Some of the other visual effects I did. Like, this one was extraordinary. Like, I thought this was incredible to bring you back to that time. But I didn't see some of the other stuff. The problem I had with this trailer is that it evoked a lot of other films I'd seen already, like Thor. Like Thor Ragnarok, even the shot of him slow motion jumping into the ship. That's something I've seen before. So there was a lot of this that I didn't feel was kind of original in its approach. And I was hoping to see something a bit more original from Travis Knight, who's doing the movie. And I wanted to see it because I've seen his stuff before, and there's a lot of original stuff within the genres that he works in that's fun to watch. But I was split a little bit with you. Like some of the special effects were great. Some of the moments I thought were fun. I thought the introduction of Skeletor, I mean, this shot was this was great. So I was like, okay, this is cool. This is fun. But then there'd be like this dumb joke about, hey, you shouldn't be doing that, hanging on the sword or whatever in a comic shop. And then the he him thing, which you don't know what that was. And so there was just some jokes that just didn't hit for me. And I was like, I don't know if this is going to be the right vibe for me. But that being said, a majority of the people who watched my reaction to this in the comment thread were very positive about it and were against my feelings not liking it. And even one of the guys said, I watched this with my 2 kids, and the 2 kids were into it way more than I was. So what you said
and here's the thing about He-Man. And here's the thing about He-Man.
Yeah.
Honestly, if this movie works for all the 40-year-olds that grew up watching He-Man, and it works for everyone who's 10 years and younger, who's like, holy shit, that was amazing.
Yeah.
That whole middle section that goes, I don't give a shit, like that, it doesn't matter.
Nope.
Like if Mattel gets a new generation of kids obsessed with He-Man, great. And if the nostalgia people are like, you guys can say what you want, I saw Skeletor and He-Man fight in live action and I was happy, like then Mattel wins. Yeah. Like they did it. And so, you know, based on the trailer, it does seem like there's probably a more interesting take or a more innovative take, which is like what Greta Gerwig did with Barbie. But I do think we have to talk a little bit about, so the he-him moment of this trailer, which has blown up the internet, like on both sides, it is so, but it's one of those things that is like, it's such like a Rorschach test for, but everyone is like blowing it out of proportion. So you have half of the internet going, oh my God, I can't believe they put pronouns into this movie, and he has this black female HR woman who's yelling at him. This movie is so woke. They've ruined He-Man. I'm not going. And then you have another half of the internet going, I can't believe they're making fun of pronouns and they've cast Sashir Zamata as this horrible woman because they're going to make women and black people look bad. I'm not going to see this movie because it's trying to how one moment can have half the internet going, why are they trying to court MAGA? And the other half of the internet going, I'm MAGA and I hate this. And I'm like, it's a joke because the character's actual name is pronouns.
Yes, exactly.
Now, I don't think it's a great joke. And I think they sort of just, and I don't think they dropped, I think they dropped it in the trailer without giving us an indication of if it's supposed to be a joke. Like it's just sort of there. And so there's no context to the moment.
Yeah.
And the whole moment is weird because you're very clearly on the pronouns to get for I think what they thought was a funny joke. And I think now they wish they didn't put in the trailer. And then you have that weird Sashir Zamata where she's like, looking for a sword isn't great from an HR perspective, which I have questions about what that even means. But it'll be interesting to see. I also don't think you cast Sashir Zamata in a role that's going to be 2 lines of the movie. So I'm like, oh, now that makes me wonder how much of the movie is going to be on Earth. You know, we see Beastman land on a car. So I'm like, does Skeletor send his minions to Earth to get Adam and that's what brings him back? Or do we come back around to Earth at the end of the movie? So I do have a lot of questions about, you know, the Eternia Earth balance as well.
Right.
But yeah, it's one of those things I would say that I watched the trailer and I was initially kind of like, I wish that had been more like the bar. I wish that this had been really clever.
Right.
But then I watched it again and I was like, oh my God, it's Trapjaw. Oh my God. Oh, there's I see Ram Man. And I was like, you know what? I'm in, even though I will probably come out and go, that wasn't very good.
Yeah, that's my concern that I might not enjoy this film because I also grew up on He-Man. I'm of the He-Man, Thundercats, G.I. Joe, Transformers. That's my wheelhouse. Just as I was turning into a young adult, those are the things that I was watching, and so I love it. But you know, I wanted to see something more. But this is the thing that I had to sit with. It's a teaser. It's not supposed to give us the whole story yet. It's not supposed to show us everything. It's just supposed to show us this is the energy and the vibe and the look. We're going to give you the story next, but this is the energy, the vibe, and the look. And I would argue a majority of the internet liked the trailer. Not everyone, but certainly a majority, and that they accomplished their goals. Now, if the trailer comes out and answers the questions, some of us who are a bit more skeptical about the trailer or 50-50 like you, if it answers those questions and gives us a little more context and a little more footage, then we might have a different feeling about this because people like Travis. People like his work. People like his movies.
I like Travis. I love his animated work. And again, another Bumblebee. Like,
yes,
so
right, exactly. Yeah.
I don't disagree with you that I think a lot of the trailer visually kind of looks like stuff we've seen before. There's obviously a lot of Ragnarok influence to it.
Oh yeah.
I also think some of the sets feel like sets.
Yes. Yes.
They feel like sets.
Agreed.
Now, I think Wicked, a lot of the sets look like sets, but I think it's very intentional and evokes that feeling of Wizard of Oz, the original. And I think it really worked. Right. So do these sets work in a way that makes Eternia feel very stylized and interesting once you see it in context? Or does it look like I'm watching the Beastmaster from the 80s? Like, that's going to be the real, like, I don't know.
That's the thing that struck me, is that it felt like Beastmaster from the 80s or Kroll from the 80s, but it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it all depends on how they present it. Yeah. So I reserve full judgment until we see a trailer, and then, of course, until I see the movie. So we'll see. But yeah, I didn't come away too impressed by this, but I'm also creating space for the fact that this is just a teaser, and we'll see more.
If this movie does great with the kids and it's just fine, but we get a second movie where Adora shows up and you find out that Hordak is just over the hill, and we bring in the Horde and Adora gets the sword, her sword, and then like for the honor of Grayskull, for the power of Grayskull, and we get a brother and sister duo teaming up. You know what? I almost don't care if it's good or not. Just bring it to me.
I feel like we have to get She-Ra if there's a sequel. I feel like you have to get She-Ra if there's a sequel, right? Yeah, exactly.
Arguably, I got in this debate the other day that I think She-Ra is actually stronger than He-Man. So I think actually.
Oh, great. Just we were going to escape without controversy. There you go. There's the
I'm just saying, He-Man fights Skeletor, who is a unsuccessful, like he's not a very he lost every week. He lost every week. He's not a very good villain. Hordak is a better villain than Skeletor.
Yeah, like, maybe we'll get a sighting. Maybe we'll get a Hordak sighting. We'll see. But I do like the design here, Michael. This is the best Skeletor design. This is way more than I could have hoped for in terms of the design for Skeletor. So I kind of like it. And I do too. I don't think Jared Leto is in there for a majority of these shots, by the way. So
I gotta tell you something.
Yeah.
And I mean, I am not alone in this. The entire internet is saying this. Casting the franchise killer in your movie is a choice regardless. But if you're going to cast the franchise killer and you're just using his voice, and this is not my opinion, everyone else is saying it, but they're not wrong. Mark Hamill in the animated He-Man that Kevin Smith did on Netflix nails it. If you're going to cast someone just for their voice, why are we using Jared Leto? Like, what was that?
A good conversation to have for sure.
I'm also very curious to see what Alison Brie does with Evelyn. That's another one of those choices where I'm like, what is okay?
I mean, I love it. I think we'll see.
The thing that I had
she loves to ham it up, so we'll see.
The thing that I had forgotten until I was reading an article about the trailer, that giant robot next to Man-at-Arms, which is Roboto. Is Kristen Wiig is doing the voice?
Yes, Kristen Wiig is doing the voice of Roboto. Yeah.
So again, the tone of this movie, Alison Brie is Evelyn, Kristen Wiig is the voice of Roboto. Like, what is this going to be? It's good. It's
very
just,
tongue in cheek.
It's very. It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, I agree. One thing I noticed though about this shot, there's a space above Tila, and I feel like that's where Orko is, and they're not showing us Orko yet. I'm just putting that out there. There's a gap here.
Listen,
I feel, and I think Orko could be in that gap. I'm just gonna let you guys know that's my opinion. So
Orko is hands down my favorite thing about He-Man.
I love Orko.
When that other live action Dolph Lundgren movie came out, and there was just no way they were going to be able to. There was no way in the 80s that they could even afford to do an Orko, so they just cast Billy Barty as Gwildor, and Gwildor kind of became the de facto. We'll do this instead of Orko. I was so pissed about it. Orko's the best, but also putting Orko in the movie tips the balance in a very strong direction into the tone of the movie. Like, I just don't know what you do.
Good point. Well, we'll get into another big trailer drop, but we got to get your thoughts on this one, Michael. You're a big Muppets fan. This one dropped here. Sabrina Carpenter, the new Muppet show is. Oh, by the way, He-Man January 5th or June 5th, rather June 5th.
June 5th.
Calendar. But yes, the Muppets trailer dropped here. We're back. The Muppets are coming back again on ABC. Little bit of a sexual innuendo by the end, but overall trying to capture the energy of the original Muppet show from the 70s for sure, with Maya Rudolph and Sabrina Carpenter. So your thoughts? Did you like this? Does this work? Does this feel like a better approach than maybe we had a couple of years ago or a few years ago when we were doing trying to bring the Muppets back again through Jason Segel and Amy Adams in that show on ABC? What are your thoughts?
First of all, there's plenty of sexual innuendo in the original Muppet show if you go back and watch it. Just saying, like,
okay, fair.
The Muppets were not. The Muppets were not.
I was 7, so I don't know. I was 7.
I love the Muppets. I also think this is like the nostalgia section, because it's the same with He-Man. Like, the Muppets are one of those really hard things because there's people of a certain age that always love the Muppets. Getting them right is hard, but also doing the Muppets in a way that you're going to get a new audience that likes them, which is what you need to do with big IP to keep it going. Is hard to do. Tonally, this trailer is perfect. Like tonally, this feels more like the Muppet Show than any other thing that we have seen from the Muppets. I think Mayhem, the Electric Mayhem show that was on Disney Plus, is probably the best thing. And that kind of I think that took the Muppets even to a higher level. So it remains to be seen with this, but I think I was kind of bummed when I found out it was just going to be one episode, like a special. But the trailer, I think, makes the most of it it's very self-referential in, well, we're back. And we'll see how this goes, and maybe we'll get more. I don't know. And the fact that they're kind of putting that right in the front of the trailer is great. I think having Sabrina Carpenter be your special guest is brilliant. I think she's super funny. She's very popular. She hits the right target demo for who they want to appeal to. And the back and forth with her and Miss Piggy is just spot on perfect. The jokes are good. Seth Rogen saying to Fozzie, "It's always been my dream to be on the Muppet Show," and Fozzie being like, "You got any other dreams?" Or even Statler and Waldorf at the end and saying, "Oh, I can't believe they're doing it again." And it's like, well, if it's not broke, and he's like, no, they were broke. That's why they're doing it again. I'm like, yeah, that is a classic Statler and Waldorf joke. So it falls into the same category as He-Man. And for me, this looks like it's going to be like, I am thrilled. This is exactly the Muppets that I love. Is it going to work? Is it going to work well enough that Disney Plus is going to go, all right, let's let Seth Rogen keep going while he's not doing the studio, let him EP a new Muppet show? I hope it does, because I would love it if there was a new, really, really good Muppet show on Disney Plus.
I thought this had the nice. I thought this brought back the vibes of the original '70s Muppet show that I used to watch, and I like that, because I still occasionally go back and watch some skits from there and sketches from there. John Denver and other people being guests on it, Lily Tomlin, Steve Martin. It's always fun to watch those and remember being a young guy, especially you get older, going back and watching old clips when you were a kid. It's nice to remember that kind of stuff. I didn't think the one that came back a few years ago was that good, so I had troubles with it. But this looks like the right amount of right energy here. I'm not as big of a fan of Sabrina Carpenter's comedic skills and acting as you are, so I'm a little questionable about choosing her. But I understand popularity-wise, it's a smart move overall. But having someone like Maya Rudolph, who, by the way, is great in Loot. If you guys haven't watched those 3 seasons of Loot, do yourself a favor. Maya is amazing in Loot. Seeing her come in as a comedic pro, I think is a very smart move. And as you said, Seth Rogen as an EP and also appearing in it makes sense. But it is a one-off, which is going to be on February 4th. So hopefully it's a good one and people are excited for it, because the Muppets are fun. And if they can get it right and people want more of it, then we can get more of these kinds of approaches and more stars to be a part of it, which is really the secret sauce that makes the Muppet Show great. The combo of the stars and the Muppets and little jokes, inside jokes or innuendo jokes that are fun to watch. So yeah, absolutely.
It'll be again, I was bummed when it wasn't announced and it wasn't a series, but doing it as a special that's like just a one-off, that's like, it makes it more of an event.
Yes.
And that might drive more people to it. The only thing, the big thing as the trailer has come out that I've seen people remarking on, and they remarked on it before too, is there's a lot of people that really don't like the voice of Kermit.
Yeah,
the voice of Kermit
not 100% there. Yeah.
And I feel like I've moved past it only because I've lived through this once. Like when Jim Henson died and Muppet Christmas Carol came out, that was the first time Steve Whitmire did Kermit. And for me, having grown up with Jim Henson, getting used to Steve Whitmire, who does a good job, but is not
Yeah.
exactly Jim Henson. That really, I had a hard time with that for a while. And then I kind of got used to it, and I'm okay now. And so now, even though we have a new Kermit, and I'm like, yeah, that's different again. I sort of lived through a generation of these voices are not the voices I grew up with. So I'm okay with it, but it's more about the performance. So we'll see how the performance is.
We'll see. We'll see. That's February 4th on Disney Plus. Put that on your calendars. Let's move on to our last trailer here. Let's move on to this. The Star Wars Maul Shadow Lord trailer dropped here. We got some awesome visuals here on the show, in the trailer itself. We got to see shots of a new planet that is going to be part of this thing, Janix. We also got to see some TK troopers. We got to see a lightsaber here that's a blade of the Dark Disciple. Maybe we got to see a new character coming on Twi'lek Jedi who is disillusioned about what's going on. And this is voiced by Gideon Adlon. The character is Devon Izara. Some people are even speculating who this might be. And then we got ourselves a shot of a person who might just be someone from the old school times Rook cast, voiced by Rebels alum Vanessa Marshall, and a lot more stuff that was involved in this. Michael, I loved this trailer. I've watched it 5 times now. I like the energy and the vibe and the approach and the darkness of this. And this is from Dave Filoni. And so, this week we've heard he doesn't like Visions. He doesn't like Andor. He doesn't like this or that. And there's been some people contradicting that with footage and whatever. But this is the energy that I want to see from Star Wars going forward. And if Filoni is the EP on this gets me a little more excited to see what he's going to do when he finally gets to do some live action stuff besides Ahsoka. So I like this trailer. What'd you think, man?
Yeah, look, I think it's no mistake that they saved this trailer for after the Dave Filoni announcement.
Oh, good point. Yes.
Because it is, look, of all the things that Dave Filoni did in the plus column when it comes to Star Wars, really close to the top is literally everything he did with Darth Maul.
Yeah. Right. Yes.
Dave Filoni in animation is the reason that Darth Maul has become and Sam Witwer and everyone, but Dave Filoni kind of literally brought Darth Maul back from the dead and turned him into this really interesting, nuanced character. Yeah. And this is just a continuation of that story. I mean, if you are a fan of Clone Wars and you're a fan of Rebels, this fills in the gaps for you. This is literally the Darth Maul story from the moment that he escapes the crashing ship in the finale of Clone Wars to him showing up to sort of try and make Ezra Bridger his apprentice in Rebels. This is what happens in between those two stories. Right. And visually, it's really, really interesting. A little bit on this new planet that you said that you're talking about, Janix. The executive producer, I forget his name, but the executive producer referred to it as a little part Gotham, a little part Metropolis, and 100% Star Wars with all these levels and layers. It definitely has like a Blade Runner vibe to it. Right. But it really does seem, in addition to Devon Izara, the young Jedi that you were talking about, one of the other major characters that you see is this Captain Lawson, this cop, and his droid Two Boots. Yeah. And so you've got like a Gotham City type of vibe, this town, this city in the Star Wars universe that's kind of got its own rule of law. There's a lot of criminal activity going on. The Empire hasn't quite touched it yet. Darth Maul sets down, and you've got Darth Maul, you've got this cop. It feels like this is going to be Batman-ish vibes. In a world where the Empire is ultimately the big bad guy, right, and you've got this cop trying to do what he's doing in his city, and you've got good guys and you've got bad guys, but both good guys and bad guys might have to team up when it comes to the Empire, particularly when we have some of these Inquisitors showing up. Yes. We have the 11th son, which was voiced by Clancy Brown in Tales of the Jedi, who Ahsoka killed. So we're seeing him before Ahsoka kills him. And we are also seeing Merrick, who was a smoky fart monster in the live action Ahsoka series. But this is him before he was a smoke monster. Right. This is him before Elsbeth kind of brought him back from the dead. And he is apparently the first son of the Inquisitors. So seeing the two of them show up, there's a lot going on here. And so
Yeah.
This is what Star Wars does best, even though I find it frustrating sometimes, is it takes some characters from the last animated series you loved. It takes some characters from a live action series, and we saw how they died, and he brings it like it's a little bit of a hodgepodge of different pieces of Star Wars.
Yeah.
But it looks visually amazing. And Darth Maul is one of the coolest characters in Star Wars. So I'm very, very excited for this.
I mean, this shot, dude, made me stop. This shot here just made me stop. If anybody watches my reaction, which is up on the channel, I just stopped at this moment because it reminded me of Rogue One when Vader turns on his lightsaber at the end. And so I like that they're coming with that energy. This, Michael gives me shit all the time about animation. This is one I'm scheduling to watch. I am going to be watching this. Hopefully I get the screeners soon and watch it. Yes.
The animation community is thrilled.
No, you know what? I'm just trying to but I like that there's a mystery to this as well, and a disillusioned Jedi. That's cool. Like a lot of people already speculated that she could become this Sith Lord that's supposedly the second in command because George Lucas had been writing this. But for me, it's more the matter of like she's a Twi'lek. People love Twi'leks in the Star Wars universe, and so if she's disillusioned but still helping people. But I think Maul is best when he has a foil, whether it's Kenobi or whether someone like he's always best when someone is questioning his points of views, maybe seeing his side of things, but also pushing back. And so having her come in as a disillusioned Jedi to go back and forth with him and a younger person, I think that's interesting. She has a master who is being voiced by Dennis Haysbert. So what's that role going to be like? So there's a lot of interesting aspects of that I'm curious to see. Yeah.
I don't think her Jedi Master looks very cool. I love the design. I don't think he makes it past the first episode.
Oh, really? Okay. All right.
Well,
maybe.
So you've got maybe he
doesn't die though. Yeah.
Oh no, he dies.
Okay.
I will almost guarantee you he dies because if Darth, I think most of what Darth Maul is saying in the trailer in the voiceover, I think he's saying to her.
Yes,
he's recruiting her.
Right.
You don't recruit a Padawan who has a Jedi Master who's going to be like, fuck you, Darth Maul. But if that Jedi Master dies, Darth Maul swoops in. And I think you sort of have a little bit of a relationship kind of like in The Penguin with Vic.
Yeah.
Like you've got this person who's good.
Okay. Yeah.
But in a world where you're being hunted by the Empire, it's the thing that's interesting. And this is where this era of Star Wars really works for Star Wars because Darth Maul's a bad guy.
He is.
But he hates the Empire.
Yes, which is alluded to in the trailer.
And Palpatine wants him dead.
Yeah.
Like, so he hates the Empire. This Jedi hates the Empire. Yeah. This cop, who's a good guy, who's just trying to keep peace on his streets, if the stormtroopers all start showing up, probably hates the Empire. Half the criminals don't want, everybody hates the Empire. So Darth Maul gets to exist in this space where he and this Jedi, who in different scenarios would be on opposite sides of the good and evil battle, are not on opposite sides now because they both hate the Empire. So do they team up, and does he lure her to the dark side or does he not? Like that. Right. So I do think there's a lot of really interesting areas to play in here. Look, he tried to recruit Ahsoka Tano. She basically flat out was like, fuck you. He tries to recruit Ezra Bridger. He's going to try and do the same thing here. So, and he's very, he's good. He's a smooth talker, that Darth Maul, for a Zabrak.
And he's trying to build his empire, his criminal empire, all over again. So,
which he will.
That's another estimate. Which he will. Right. That's another element of this that's going to be interesting. So, yes, complexity, which is fun to see in Star Wars. I think you're right. This is the time in Star Wars that complexity is fun to explore in an animated way and live action way if they ever get around to doing it. And you've got Wagner Moura voicing Brander Lawson and Richard Ayoade doing Two Boots, and as I mentioned, Haysbert. Diamantopoulos is in this, Vanessa Marshall, as I said, AJ Lacasios, Marek, Steve Bloom. So a lot of good, on-camera actors and a lot of good voiceover actors from the community. So it's a good combo, good mix.
It'll be interesting. We're all going to be keeping a close eye on the things that Filoni does moving forward and where Star Wars is going. But I really wish, I wonder why the energy that comes out of what Filoni brings to the animated part of Star Wars for a lot of people did not translate to Ahsoka. me included. I think ultimately, I think there's a lot of really interesting things in Ahsoka, but that energy, it didn't quite translate. And so as we're looking at what's going to happen next for Star Wars in all of the post Rise of Skywalker universe that Filoni is now driving.
Yeah.
This kind of energy and this kind of complex storytelling, just based on the trailer, we'll see if they actually deliver on it. That is, if that's where Star Wars is going in live action, I'm excited. But thus far, that jump hasn't quite fully jumped into live action. So I think that's going to be one of the challenges.
Well, and we should be fair. There was some good stuff in Ahsoka. There was some really interesting stuff in his Balin Scroll and his relationship. But I agree with you. It felt a little stunted by the end. The Ezra Bridger stuff was a bit of a miss and a fail, and how that all went about, and why isn't that more of an emotionally complex thing? The stuff he's exploring with the more mystical stuff, that was interesting until it kind of maybe didn't land as well by the end. But that episode with her and Hayden, I mean, there was some good stuff in Ahsoka to get you excited. So, bit of a dry run live action, but he also has more episodes in the animated side of things than he does in live action.
True.
So maybe there's a little bit of it. So he's learning on the job a little bit. Maybe this is a kind of a window into he's figuring things out. If second season comes out of Ahsoka and it is a fucking banger, then I think a lot of people are gonna back off a little bit and give him much more space to create what he's doing. So we'll see on that.
But regardless, I'm very excited for Darth Maul.
Yeah, and just to add to this, as you were saying, Michael, it is created by Dave Filoni, it's also Dave Filoni and Matt McNovitz were the
Matt McNovitz,
developers.
is the EP.
Yes, and then Brad Rao is the supervising director on this. So a lot of good, talented people involved in this. We'll see. And this one comes out on April 6th, the first 2 episodes, and 2 episodes will premiere each week until the final 2 air on, of course, May the 4th, which is good timing there overall. So we'll see. All right, well, there you go. That's our episode of the Geek Buddies. Thanks to everybody who is watching or listening to us. You can always listen to us on the podcast. Michael, what do we have to tell the wonderful people who are doing so?
If you'd like to follow us, you can do so on Twitter at geek_buddies, on Instagram at _geek_buddies. If you would like to follow Mr. Rocha, you can do so at The Rocha Says. If you would like to follow me, you can do so at MKToon. We would also like it if you would smash that like button below, subscribe to Johnny's John Rocha page, check out all the amazing content he has got there. Leave your comments below. What do you think of the Academy Awards? What do you think of Batman Brave and the Bold? What do you think of Lobo? What do you think of He-Man? What do you think of the Muppets? And what do you think of Maul? Let us know in the comments below. If you're listening to us on the podcast, which we hope you are, go ahead and leave us some stars and comments so we go up in the rankings and more people can find us. And as always, the best thing you can do is retweet this video, post it on your socials, send it to your friends, and tell them to hang out with your buddies, the Geek Buddies.
Absolutely. Thank you, Michael. And thanks to everybody who watched and listened to us today. We'll be back next week with some episodes to talk about all kinds of stuff going on in the world of geekdom. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you next time with another brand new episode of the
Geek
Buddies.